My name's MythicSeal, and today we're taking a deeper look at the character Astarion. For those who don't know who this character is, he's a companion character you meet in the video game Baldur's Gate 3. But what is it that makes the character stand out from the rest of the entourage of the companions in the game? Before we answer that question, don't forget to hit subscribe and drop a like so I can keep on making videos. Now, Astarion is a character that has some incredible writing. While many people may be quick to write off this character or completely ignore his story in Baldur's Gate 3, he truly does have a golden touch put into his character. Let's break down the elements that make this character something to admire for character writing. Starting off, we're going to look at the personality of this character. Astarion's personality is suave, flirtatious, sadistic, self-absorbed, and sarcastic. His personality is written with both a light and dark side to him. Having his personality be written this way brings this appeal to audiences of the conflict where there's definitely things about this character we can dislike, like the self-absorption and sadism, but we're drawn to that other side that's lovable or appreciable with the sarcasm and suave flirtation. One of the key things that makes Astarion stand out from the rest of the companions in the game is the fact that he's also a vampire. Astarion's vampirism not only brings a unique aspect to his gameplay, but it also is a tool for world building with understanding vampirism. If you combine Astarion's personality with the fact that he's a vampire and an elf, there's no doubt in my mind that Astarion was written to be a book smut character. Like Twilight if it was good. But he's not only a book girl smut fantasy, which brings me to the character's sexuality. Astarion, like the rest of the companions in the game, is pansexual or bisexual at the least. No matter your character's identity, Astarion will have a hard-on for you. Having the character be pansexual or bisexual makes this character mesh with everyone who has interest in wanting to romance this character. Having a character be LGBTQA+ in anything will bring two sides of a coin, one being the beneficial aspect of the two. You're going to have people who will instantly dislike the character for this aspect, which unfortunately will always be the case with audiences, but the beneficial aspect is that it creates a larger audience to connect with this character. It's always a good idea when it comes to writing romance options in games where there's character creation to have the romance options be under the bisexual umbrella. Doing so is going to get the character noticed and stand out to most of the audience when playing the game, looking to bring some love into the life of their character, bringing an overall immersion to the experience. Having romance options be primarily heterosexual in games where there's character creation is only going to increase the likelihood that the character is going to get pushed to a back burner or ignored by players when there isn't a chance for the player's created character to build a deeper connection with said character. Having moved toward the idea of connection building, we're going to take a look at the final aspect of this character, which is his story. Astarion's story begins 200 years prior to the events of Baldur's Gate 3. Astarion was a nobleman magistrate in the city of Baldur's Gate. Astarion handed down a ruling concerning a group of monster hunters known as the Gur. The Gur in the D&D universe share a very similar history to gypsies in real life, being essentially a fictitious equivalent to them. Astarion was fatally attacked by a group of Gur at night in an alley after having handed down a ruling on a matter concerning them. As Astarion lay dying alone in the alley, a vampire lord called Cazador comes to his rescue and turns him into a vampire spawn. As lucky as it may sound, being a spawn of Cazador's entailed a life of living hell. Cazador sadistically controlled Astarion like a puppet for 200 years, forcing him to not only feed off rats when he wasn't being starved, but also forced to seduce humans by any means necessary into Cazador's clutches. When not being controlled like a puppet, Astarion was brutally tortured by Cazador on a regular basis, from having markings carved into his back to starvation. Astarion became all too familiar with pain. It was only thanks to a Mind Flayer's invasion of Baldur's Gate that Astarion was able to lapse free from Cazador's control with being forcibly given a Mind Flayer parasite, trading one horrible fate for another. Astarion's personal story reaches a climax in the third act of the game when he confronts Cazador to put an end to him, facing down not only his sadistic master, but coming face to face with a major decision that affects not only his future, but the lives of all the people Astarion had once lured into Cazador's clutches, along with his spawn siblings, who suffered just as much as he did at Cazador's hands. Astarion's story is tragic. Hundreds of years enduring suffering most people couldn't survive through. Astarion's confrontation with Cazador is a writing masterpiece, dare I say. There's so much substance in this interaction between the characters. Looking past the surface material of this interaction, on a deeper level, Astarion is coming face to face with his trauma, the source of all the suffering he's known for hundreds of years. Cazador represents a force of misery and pain, a powerful being that has had Astarion on edge for most of the game, worrying about Cazador coming to reclaim him as property. For the first time in 200 years, Astarion has felt what it's like to be in control of himself, to walk in the sun and feel its warmth. Cazador is a threat to these freedoms. If Cazador isn't stopped in this fight, it won't only doom Baldur's Gate, but will make it impossible for Astarion to ever know these freedoms again. Cazador and Astarion very clearly share a abuser-victim relationship connection to each other. The fear Astarion has of always looking over his shoulder, worrying what happens when Cazador finds him, fearing what Cazador is capable of, it's very akin to the feelings abuse victims feel when fleeing their abuser. You find out shortly prior to this fight that Cazador's old master, Valiath, abused him the same way when he was Valiath's spawn. A very clear picture of an abuse cycle between sire and spawn. There's just so much substance to Astarion's relationship with Cazador, just layers upon layers of fantastic writing. The final confrontation between Astarion and Cazador is given icing on the cake with Neil Newborn's performance of the character. The pain you can hear in Astarion's voice when he delivers the final blow to Cazador is tear-jerking at the least, if not bringing you to tears. Hundreds of years of fear, pain, anguish shedding off of him. It's a beautiful moment, but this is just the beginning to one of the ending paths for Astarion's character. Astarion's story is made even more incredible by the various endings his character can have and what they represent for the character. Looking at the most bleak ending for Astarion, the zombie Astarion ending is achieved when Astarion is given over to the monster hunter in Act 1, is killed before being recruited, or Cazador's ritual is completed. Astarion becomes a zombie with his former self lost forever. It's Astarion's death ending representing a true loss for the character's endeavors. Moving on to the questionably lesser bleak ending, there is then Astarion's Cazador's spawn ending. This ending is achieved by completely ignoring Astarion's questline and never confronting Cazador. It sees Astarion no longer having the Mind Flayer parasite, hiding out in the sewers of Baldursgate and feeding off rats to avoid being in Cazador's control again. The ending can be made less bleak by promising the character to help him take down Cazador, or if the Gur are reconciled, then Astarion kills Cazador with the Gur's help post defeating the Netherbrain. I find this ending to be the neutral ending for Astarion, with being a mix of good and bad. But here's when we get the endings of the greatest substance. There are three major endings for Astarion in my opinion, ranging from the Vampire Ascendant, Vigilante, and Spawn Leader. The Vampire Ascendant ending sees Astarion complete Cazador's ritual to become a Vampire Ascendant, making him more powerful than Cazador and able to walk in the sun. This ending is Astarion's evil ending. It sees Astarion become the new Cazador, with being just as manipulative and controlling as Cazador was. It's very apparent if you have romanced the character this fact, since Astarion offers you to become his spawn, and if you accept, he treats you like you're his property, leading you on, saying he'll make you a full vampire in time with clearly no real intention of doing so. This evil ending of Astarion's completely reinforces the theme of an abuse cycle in Astarion's story, seeing him continue the abuse down to you being the next victim. Astarion's Vigilante ending is achieved by ending Cazador's ritual and by essentially killing all of Cazador's spawn, or only allowing his spawn siblings to leave for the Underdark. It's the character's considerable good ending and sees Astarion fight injustice as a hero of the night. This ending sees Astarion turn a new leaf, leaving behind his callous self-absorption and embracing selfless virtue. Astarion's final ending and his best ending is his Spawn Leader ending. To get this ending, you must free all the spawn and allow them to leave for the Underdark, and encourage Astarion to seek his siblings out after defeating the Netherbrain. This ending sees Astarion being the leader of the spawn community in the Underdark, along with his siblings and the player character if romanced. This ending gives Astarion and his siblings the ability to break the cycle of spawn being abused by their sires, helping them properly adjust to being vampires and treating them with respect. It rights a wrong in the world by making sure these hundreds of spawn are treated the way Astarion and his siblings should have been treated and cared for. It even scratches Astarion's itch he has all game to amass power and control. Only in this instance, it's for a good cause doing so and not self-interest. But with all that being said, it brings us to the end of today's video. Let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are on Astarion and what other characters you'd like to see me take a deeper look at. Don't forget to drop a like as well if you enjoyed today's video. Till we meet again, stay freaky.